Here's Brody Brazil.
As much as I could sit here and talk A's baseball with you about 2023, I think it is so critical for anybody in the Bay Area, anybody that's been a longtime Oakland fan, to understand, sure, enjoy the baseball this year. In fact, give me a second for that. Enjoy the baseball this year. But also understand that what happens off the field between the city of Oakland and Las Vegas and this baseball team, this matters more than any game, any win, any loss, any stat, any trade, any player, any moment, any highlight, any low light, any winning streak. And it all does not matter, but the deadlines do. This is what matters. What happens for the A's and Howard Terminal? Now, in the month of May, upcoming, right? We're a month plus away from this. A 4-year exclusive negotiating agreement with the Port of Oakland expires for the A's and the Port. Now, I don't expect that agreement is going to be difficult to extend or to re-engage. The Port of Oakland wants to have a ballpark at Howard Terminal. They do not oppose this at last check at all. They're very much for developing the 55 acres at Howard Terminal. But without that agreement either renewed or in place, you don't really have a foundation for your home. You can't go out and explore anything further. You can't really have much discussion if your deal is off the table to acquire the actual land which you have fought so hard for, you've won lawsuits against, you've gotten the port priority use removed, you've spent tens and tens of millions of dollars to facilitate this. And again, I'm not trying to blow the whistle here and say this is a deal breaker if it goes through. It should be able to be renewed. This should not be a big issue. But if it doesn't happen, it becomes a bit of an issue, right? That's something to pay attention to. That happens in the month of May. Should we hear about it in the next couple weeks? I would hope so. There hasn't been much talk about Howard Terminal at all, but this is one of those things that's going to force the conversation. It's going to cause speculation if you don't hear much about it. What's the latest? Is this going to be renewed? And how many years will it be renewed for? Do you think they'll do another 4? I think the Port of Oakland probably wants to hustle things up. Maybe they do another 2, but to be quite honest, that should be enough for us to reach a decision on all of this. So the agreement that was set in place in May of 2019, it expires here in May of 2023. So keep an eye on that. There's also this. The lobbying session in the state of Nevada for the county as well as the state in terms of Las Vegas and Nevada, the lobbying session concludes in the month of June. I think it's the first week, 6th of June, if I'm correct. And so what the A's have been doing down there is trying to seek out the situation. What is the opportunity to get public funding for a ballpark, for infrastructure, for everything that's necessary for a potential Las Vegas ballpark? And we don't even know what the primary site is. I know there's the 3. People talk probably in this order about the Rio Hotel site as the newcomer, the front runner. The Rio Hotel site just got $850 million, their owner's dreamscape, to refurbish and redo that property. Maybe a ballpark is part of that. Tropicana is obviously the best and most convenient and closest site. It's right on the Strip, but how hard is that land and property and project to acquire? And then there's the festival grounds, which are northern side of the Strip, closer to the Stratosphere, not all the way by downtown, but just north of Circus. And there's a lot of land out there too. But that one hasn't really seemed to be on the front burner. The Rio site is where it's been talked about. But I digress. What the A's are trying to find out is no matter which one of those 3 sites are it for them that they're going to maybe move forward with, they're trying to figure out how much of a contribution they can get from public money from the county or from the state in Nevada. And so they don't know that yet. This lobbying session concludes in June. By that time, there can be no more lobbying. And I believe the A's have registered close to a dozen lobbyists to operate and facilitate finding out this information with the state of Nevada. And so again, the point is here that I don't know how it becomes public or if and when and where and the likeliness, but it does feel like the A's should know what they'll have in Las Vegas by the end of June. By the beginning of June. And at that point, we'll know what happened to Howard Terminal in terms of the port agreement. Is that still in play? Is that not in play? What have the A's said about public money? And we'll kind of have a comparison of, okay, because we kind of know where Howard Terminal is at. They're stuck on a few things. They're stuck on infrastructure money. Apparently, according to the commissioner, Rob Manfred, affordable housing is still a sticking point. That's the only thing we have to go on, and he said that, I believe, more than a month ago. He's really the only person to have talked about this stuff, but that's what he said. So that's all that we have to go on. But at that point, by June, that's when we should see what the race looks like, where each city is at, what they can offer, and at that point, maybe we get something. Maybe we get a decision or some commentary on it. So look for early June to have some answers. So you can kind of see where this is going. And again, I totally went off the rails here on this video. Like we were talking about baseball, but again, I need to spend a significant amount of time on this. It's important. Unless you're not from the area. If you're watching this video somewhere else in the world, and that's fine. Maybe this stuff doesn't matter to you. But if you are from the East Bay, if you are from Northern California, I'm telling you, this right here matters more than anything else this season because it's coming to a head.